Hello, I'm Robert Grant, and welcome to LearnMyShot.com. Today we're going to work on an image showing motion using your DSLR camera on a semi-automatic mode and our clamp lamp system of lighting. So let's get over to the set and get started.
I've chosen a shiny open-end wrench as our subject. Placed it into a common baking dish lined with black paper and then filled with water. You can see our clamp lamp on the right with a 250 watt bulb, our tissue over the top, and our camera on the tripod. Let's take a look at our camera settings. For our image today using motion, we want to set our camera to the automatic setting of TV for time value. So we select the shutter speed and the camera automatically selects the aperture. I'm going to change the ISO of the camera from 100 to 400, thereby allowing the camera to require less light to do the image we're working on today. We're shooting with our stabilizer on off because we're on a tripod. Manual focus because autofocus would be confused by a motion shot, and on 70 millimeters on the lens, which is our 17 to 85 zoom lens. I'm now going to lower the tissue paper in front of our light, which is the 250 watt bulb in our clamp lamp. Next, we go to the camera and select our first shutter speed. Let's start with a tenth of a second. So, at a tenth of a second, the camera automatically selects f13 as our f-stop. Let's shoot one here. Well, that's pretty nice. But for our motion shot, I would like to get the light a little bit more even across the water. So let's adjust the lighting just a bit. This is a really simple fix, because all we need to do is back the light away from the paper. Then it spreads the light more evenly across the surface of the tissue paper and across the surface of the water. Let's have a look. That's really great, a much more even light, which is exactly what we need for this image. Now for the fun part, making the splash. I go in, lift the wrench above the water approximately 6 inches, dropping it and firing the camera at the same time. And here it is, at a tenth of a second at f13. We get wonderful ghosting and motion, a very artistic effect. Let's try it at 1/100th of a second and see what we get. Well, we set our camera at 1/100th of a second, but we're underexposed. So let's go to the camera and see what adjustments we need to make. We had set our camera to 1/100th of a second, but our readout is flashing on 5.6, indicating there's not enough light to expose properly. So what we need to do is go back to the set and add more light. The simplest way to do this is to add a couple more clamp lamps, each with a 250 watt bulb. So we've tripled the amount of light from 250 watts to 750 watts. Let's take a look at our camera readout now. After adding more light at 1/100th of a second, our camera has automatically given us a reading of 7.1 for our aperture. Let's try it again. Here we've got a really fabulous shot with the water still in motion, but not as much as before, because we're at 1/100th of a second. Let's look at them side by side. Here you can really see the difference between a tenth of a second on the left and 1/100th of a second on the right. Quite dramatically different results. Now let's try one at over 300th of a second. We've set our time to 320th of a second, and now we're underexposed again. Let's go to the set and add more light to bring the exposure to its proper level. This problem is an easy one to fix. I'm going to move in, take the tissue paper, and move it right up to the back edge of the tray so it touches it. Then I'm going to move all three lights closer to the tissue paper to increase the intensity of the light. Let's go check out our camera readout and see what it says. By checking our readout, at 320, our camera has now given us a green light at f8. Let's take a shot here. This is remarkable. At 320, we've actually frozen the splash in midair. So by adjusting your speeds, you can control the amount of movement and create a great image.
We hope you enjoyed this video on creating motion in an image and can see that using your digital SLR camera on a semi-automatic mode and our inexpensive clamp lamp system of lighting makes it relatively easy. So take a look for us again at learnmyshot.com.